Into the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. Alex Napoles here with you at Zions Bank Stadium as we get ready on this cold Thursday morning to bring you 3A semifinal action in game number one. It is the number one in the RPI, the Judge Memorial Bulldogs, getting ready to take on number 4 in the Morgan Trojans. Everybody on the field as we get ready for kickoff. It'll be the Judge Memorial Bulldogs in the red, shooting to the right of your screen here in the first half. And it is the Morgan Trojans in the all-white going to the left of your screen. Official getting ready here for the final preparations as we await the whistle to kick off today's 3A semifinal action between two of the top teams in 3A. There's the whistle, and we are underway as Judge get us started off. Judge quickly losing possession and one back by Sienna Love. Ball trying to play out wide in the direction of Callie Lipson, but it goes out of bounds and out for a throw-in for the Trojans over on that far sideline. Ball in play. Takes a bounce inside the box. Trying to get on the end of it there was Paul, and now booted away. Nice defensive effort by Judge. Ball played up in the direction of Christensen. Christensen with a nice turn. Tries to play a through ball, defended well by the Trojans. Quickly won back by the Bulldogs, and a good contingency here of the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Getting things loud here at Zions Bank Stadium in the early goings. Nice cutback by Lipson. Lipson trying to get that one up in the direction of Gardner, booted away, and Judge here will track this one down. Let's take a look at the matchup. We'll start with looking at the designated home side in the Judge Memorial Bulldogs, led by head coach Emily Garcia in her second year as head coach. Last season finished 6-6 on the year. A good turnaround as they are now 16-0 overall heading into this one. Undefeated 6-0 in Region 14 play. They are the region champions. The number one in the RPI, 94 goals scored on the season, 13 goals against. Good defensive record, even better offensive record with those 94 goals on the year. Got some good wins early on in the season. Beat the St. Joseph Jayhawks 3-4 in an overtime thriller, and beat Rowland Hall 7-0. This is two teams that have already played each other once this season. Judge was able to beat Morgan 3-2 in regular season play. Now they play each other again here in the semifinals. In region play, the Judge Memorial Bulldogs got some big wins, of course, finishing their region play undefeated. Beat Juan Diego twice, once 2-1 in overtime, and then beat Juan Diego again 5-2. Got the first round bye with that number 1 seed. Beat number 16 South Summit 6-0 in the second round, and took down number 8 Juan Diego 3-0 in the quarterfinals last week to set themselves up for this semifinal matchup. For the Morgan Trojans, led by head coach Brian Cyril, 14-5 overall on the year, 9-1 in Region 13, tied at the top of Region 13 with the Ogden Tigers. That ball fit through and safely into the hands of Maddie Fisher. Number 4 seed in the RPI, 92 goals scored, 19 goals against. Another team here in 3A with a good defensive record and an even better offensive record. Ball coming in now for the Trojans. Love will play it back into the middle of the park for Burton. Burton gets it back to Charlton. Charlton will play it out wide, and that ball goes out of bounds and out. Throw coming up for the Bulldogs. The Trojans, not the best of starts for the Trojans this season. A 3-2 loss to Box Elder in overtime, 3-0 loss to Bonneville. And in non-region play, that ball coming in now for the Bulldogs. Cut inside by Christensen. The cross comes in, and Maddie Fisher forced into a save. The freshman goalkeeper coming up big for the Trojans in the early opportunity for the Bulldogs. Ball booted away by Fisher. Comes over to the near side as the Trojans now in possession with Paul. Ball cuts back, tries to go back up the sideline. Ball booted away, lands back at Lacey Paul. And now Paul will boot this one up. Nicely defended by McKenna Gardner. Gardner will play it back to Link. And now ball put away by the Bulldogs. Again, this is a team that's already played each other once this season. The Morgan Trojans losing to the Judge Memorial Bulldogs 3-2. Morgan, despite the slow start to their year, they were able to bounce back and now coming to this one with an 11-game win streak. Got the first round bye after earning that fourth RPI seed. Beat number 13 Juab 8-0 in the second round and got a big 5-0 win against the number 5 Carbon in the quarterfinal to set themselves up here with a semifinal matchup against Judge. Looking for revenge, a rematch of that earlier fixture where they fell 3-2. Ball played out wide for the Bulldogs. This is a shot from distance from Wickstorm that will go wide of the post and out for the goal kick. Let's take a look at some of the impact players of the afternoon for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. That one who just shot the shot, Lily Wickstorm, 19 goals on the season, 12 assists, leading goal scorer for the Bulldogs. Lipson with 16 goals and 12 assists. And Del Puys with 11 goals and 9 assists for Judge. Trojans here on the attack. Ball floated in towards the top of the 18. Paul trying to bring it in. And that one deflected out and booted away. Impact players for the Trojans. That one right there who had the opportunity towards the top of the 18 in Paul with 34 goals and 14 assists on the season for the Trojans. Number 25, Charlton, who has 18 goals, 14 assists, and number 13, Burton, with 17 goals and 8 assists. Those are the leaders and impact players for the Morgan Trojans. Ball into the middle for Amy Thomas, who loses out possession. Now it's Chloe Gardner for the Bulldogs. Gardner trying to take it up the sideline, cut inside, ball booted away. As that one will bounce out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for the Morgan Trojans. This is a Morgan Trojans side who are back in the semifinals after falling to Ogden last season in the championship game, lost 3-1. Now here they are a year later looking to get back to the championship game and looking for an opportunity to win championship number 4. 3-time state champions for the Morgan Trojans, winning it in 2017, 2018, and 2020. Here come the Bulldogs. Ball over on that far sideline, nicely cut off by Macy Miller, who will boot this one away. The senior defender coming across and clearing that one out. Ball back in play with the Trojans. This is Burton. Burton gets it on the right, plays it up. Nice through ball and an opportunity here for Morgan as that one will just go out of bounds and out. A little bit too much on the touch from Charlton. And an opportunity here for Judge to boot this one away. Substitution coming up for the Trojans as Samantha Moses checks into the game. And a goal kick here for the Bulldogs, booted away by Addie Borgmeyer. And a nice touch there by Evelyn Link to put it away.
Number 1, Bailey Anderson.
Excuse me, correction on the substitution. It was Samantha Moses who came out. In is Bailey Anderson for Morgan. Here comes the ball with Lily Wickstorm of the Bulldogs. Wickstorm looking for options, slows the ball down, now cuts it up the far sideline. Still Wickstorm in possession, defended by Bailey Anderson. And Anderson doing a good job defensively after checking into this one, defending Wickstorm. A throw-in coming up here for Judge. Over on that far sideline, it'll be McKenna Gardner. And now that ball comes out. That was Judge here trying to get onto the attack. Nice step by Macy Miller defensively. Still Judge in possession. This one with Sofia Del Puis. And Del Puis losing out possession. Nice step by Evelyn Link trying to cut it out defensively. Lily Evans plays it up. And now here come the Trojans. The cross comes in. And that'll safely go into the hands of Lorraine Wingstorm. As Wingstorm here can just boot this one away. Controlled by Lipson. Ball back with the Trojans as Burton will play it back. Booted up by Miller. Miller looking to play one over the top. Nicely defended by Link, who will just try to shield this one off. Cut out by the Trojans. Link can now boot it away, only to find the top of the 18. Brought down inside the box was Thomas. Nothing called. Judge still trying to clear the ball, and they do. Hankins trying to get it back out wide. Again, the Trojans in possession over on that far sideline. The cross comes in, and Borgmere boots this one away. Here comes an opportunity for the Judge Bulldogs. Miller coming across, clearing this one away, and a one back by Wingstorm. Nice cut back inside by Wingstorm. We'll leave it for Hankins. Hankins carries in possession for Judge. Looking for options. Ball goes out wide. The cross comes in. Booted away by Miller. Final touch off of Bailey Anderson. Goes out of bounds and out. A corner kick coming up here for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. 28:09 left to go here in the first half. Set piece opportunity coming up for Judge. Ball whipped in, goes near post, headed away by the Trojans and cleared away. Lily Evans tracking it down. Evans with time and space. In possession for Morgan, takes a deflection. Evans trying to keep possession, but coming across defensively was McKenna Gardner. She boots this one out. A throw-in for the Trojans over on that far sideline. Out of bounds once more. Another throw coming up here for Morgan. Ball put away by Borgmere. And now giving chase is here on the near side is Del Puis. Del Puis trying to float one into the box. Stolen away by Lipson. And Lipson will put it in. Callie Lipson for Judge. Off the takeaway. And the Bulldogs lead it.
Number 25, Kelly Lipson.
Callie Lipson with goal number 17 on the season. A bad giveaway for the Trojans in their defensive third. Lipson pounces on it and just has to play it into an open net. The Judge Memorial Bulldogs lead it 1-0 with 27:07 left to go here in the first half. Ball booted up, looking for Paul. And now ball coming up the near sideline for Judge. Goes out of bounds. A throw-in coming up for Morgan. in the attacking third, and a good chance here for the Trojans to try to respond after going down 1-0. Good heads-up play by Callie Lipson again on that goal. Just steals it away from that Trojans defense. Ball comes out for Del Puis, and Del Puis clears this one out and away. Out of bounds, and a throw-in coming up here for the Trojans on the near sideline. Trailing at 1-0. Ball played into the box. Trojans trying to keep possession. Judge trying to clear, takes a deflection. Now here comes Wickstorm. Nicely cut out by the Trojans. And a throw-in coming up here for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. An opportunity to clear their lines. Paul wins it back. Quickly won back by Wickstorm, and now Lily Wickstorm in the attack for Judge, trying to filter one through. Bailey Anderson comes across defensively, stolen back by Chloe Gardner, and now Miller comes up with a defensive play, cleared away by the Trojans. Goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for Morgan over on that far sideline off of McKenna Gardner. Ball back in play. Headed away by Link. Comes back down to the Trojans. Here comes Lily Evans, who cuts inside. Plays it, supports herself with Burton. Burton trying to cut it back, does. Burton gets it back out towards that sideline. A heavy touch, and Link boots this one away. Here comes the goal scorer, Callie Lipson. Losing out possession, it's Paul. Paul crosses it in. Looking to play one in behind that Judge defense, booted away. Not the cleanest of touches there as Judge trying to clear their lines, but a throw-in coming up here for the Trojans in the attacking third. Trying to find an opportunity to tie this one up. 24-15 left to go here in the first half. Still plenty of time for Morgan to try to find the equalizer before the halftime break. Thrown on the near side, played into the box by Burton, and booted away by the Bulldogs. Thomas plays one into the box. A step there, headed away by Borgmere, and now dangerous as the ball's still in the box. Thomas taking a shot from distance, and Amy Thomas can't keep that one on frame. A good idea from Thomas as that ball fell to her at the top of the 18, trying to hit it first time off the shot from distance as it goes over and out. Judge here on the goal kick and boot this one away. Ball comes down. Back in possession is the Trojans. Macy Miller boots this one up. Lands at Paul. Paul played it into Burton. Burton goes to ground. Nothing called. Bulldogs back in possession. Macy Miller giving chase. Miller will boot this one out. Macy Miller, number 51 for the Trojans. That's coming from her center back position. It's been a good performance from her so far this morning. And now defended by Emma Toon. Going to ground there is Callie Lipson, the goal scorer. Ball poked away, out of bounds and out. A throw-in on that far sideline for Judge. Played in quickly. Macy Miller coming up again. Boots this one away. Gardner trying to bring it down. Gardner goes to ground. And a foul called. Free kick coming up here for the Bulldogs over on that far sideline. Addie Borgmere will boot this one away. And there's Borgmere. Intercepted by Burton. Now it's Charlton trying to play it in. Nicely defended by Hankins. Brought down by Wickstorm. Wickstorm now out to the sideline for Del Puis. Wickstorm into the box, takes the shot, and can't put it on frame. And confusion here. The Bulldogs wanted the corner. They thought they had the corner as they forced Maddie Fisher into the save, but the official giving the offsides, or the goal kick, excuse me. In the end here, a goal kick as Emma Toon boots this one away. Substitution for the Trojans. Sage Jones checks in. There's her first touch. This ball given away. The goal scorer Lipson cuts back on her right. Trying to get around Burton, but Burton doing a great job defensively, winning that one back for Morgan. Now the Trojans trying to get onto the attack. A foul called. And a free kick coming up. Sienna Love gets called for the foul. The Morgan Trojans with the free kick. Emma Toon to boot this one away. Ball floated in. Heavy touch. Sage Jones trying to track this one down. We'll leave it. Here comes Mia Summers trying to get it back to Jones. As that ball goes out of bounds, can't connect. A throw in here on the near side for the Bulldogs, brought in by Wickstorm. Wickstorm will play it back to Bergmere. Bergmere will boot this one away. Miller trying to get it back out to Lacey Paul. Cut back by Wickstorm. Wickstorm with another nice cut. Has time and space, plays it up. Miller comes up defensively, and now Macy Miller looking for options. Back to Miller. Miller over the top. Burton is there, cleared away by Link, brought down by Charlton. And that ball goes wide. Goal kick coming up here for the Bulldogs. Addie Borgmere will have a chance to boot this one away. Ball booted out. Brought down by Charlton. Sage Jones trying to win it back for the Trojans. Nicely cut out by the Bulldogs. As Wickstorm turns. Burton comes up with a big defensive challenge, winning it back for the Trojans. Lacey Paul, the cross comes in. Goes over to that far sideline, trying to track it down as Lily Evans, cut out by Sienna Love. And now ball cleared away by the Bulldogs. Macy Miller gets this one away. Out of bounds and out. Judge with a throw-in over on that far sideline. Bailey Anderson trying to get it past her mark. Out of bounds and out. Another throw-in coming up, this time for the Trojans. Substitution for the Trojans as well as Lacey Paul.
Morgan substitution number 26, Reese Crowder.
Heading to the bench, Reese Crowder into the game.
Replacing number 16, Lacey Paul.
Ball in play. Headed away by the Trojans, or by the Bulldogs, excuse me, throwing for the Trojans over on that far sideline. Lily Evans bringing it in, brought into Burton. Burton with the heavy touch, intercepted by Del Puis. And Del Puis looking to play it back over on that sideline. Now back into Del Puis. And intercepted by Macy Miller. Ball booted away. Sienna Love gets a touch. Out wide now to Gardner. Chloe Gardner trying to get it back to Love. Love booting it. Takes a deflection. Now in the air. Lipson trying to bring it down. And Lipson doing a good job to bring it down. Nice control by Callie Lipson. Playing it to Chloe Gardner. Gardner trying to play it in through to Hankins. And cleared away by the Trojans. Now here comes Evans. Cut out by the Bulldogs. Throw-in coming up for the Trojans over on that far sideline. Ball back in play. Charlton bringing it down. Now in on that far sideline. Getting into the box. Here's the Trojans. Cleared away by the Bulldogs. Evans trying to win it back. Charlton now on the ball. And booted away by Judge. Throw in for Bailey Anderson over on that far sideline. Charlton flicks it through with the header. Booted away by Borgmere. And now giving chase is Summers. Brought down by Crowther. And now here comes Crowther. Nicely won back by Charlton in the attacking third. Jones taking a shot from distance. And it'll go safely into the hands of Lorraine Hangstorm. Hangstorm boots this one away. Cut out by Bailey Anderson. In now for Evans. Evans back to Anderson. Anderson tangled up with Chloe Gardner as that ball goes out of bounds. Trojan throw in over on that far sideline. Prior to a substitution coming up for the Bulldogs as Emily Christensen gets ready to check back in. Coming off is the goal scorer in Callie Lipson.
Number 16, Lacey Paul.
Lacey Paul also back into the game for the
Judge Memorial
Morgan Trojans.
Number 28, Emily Christensen.
Looking to play that ball up the sideline to Charleston. Nicely covered by Link. Booted away by Borgmere. Comes into the middle of the park for Wickstorm. Wickstorm turns on Sage Jones. Jones goes to ground. That's Amy Thomas. And Thomas goes to ground. A foul called, a free kick coming up here for the Trojans. Emma Toon boots this one over the top towards the top of the 18. Cleared away by the Bulldogs. Brought in by Amy Thomas. Thomas against Wickstorm. Wickstorm doing a good job to win that one back. Here comes Wickstorm trying to play it over the top. Looking for Sophia Del Puis. And Macy Miller there with possession. Miller now at the near sideline. Miller goes to ground. A late whistle. And a free kick coming up here for the Morgan Trojans as Del Puis commits the foul on Macy Miller. Emma Toon to boot this one up and away for the Trojans. Toon with the big boots. Lands at Wickstorm. Back to Miller. Ball booted up by Hankins. Summers comes across, boots that one away for the Trojans. And now it's Paul over on that far sideline. Cut out by the Bulldogs. Out of bounds and out. Another throw-in coming up here for the Morgan Trojans. 12:55 left to go here in the first half. The Bulldogs lead it 1-0 thanks to a goal from Callie Lipson. Macy Miller, as that ball goes out of bounds. Another throw-in for Morgan on that far sideline. Floated in over the top. Nicely defended by the Bulldogs. Sage Jones comes across, gets a boot on it. And it'll go out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the Bulldogs in their own defensive half. For Judge, looking for state championship number 4. 3-time state champions. Won it back in 2002, 2003, and 2007. Trying to end a drought this season. And setting themselves up nicely with an undefeated season so far. Throw in coming up for the Bulldogs over here on the near sideline. It'll be Juliet Sullivan who throws it in. Booted away by Borgmere. In now for Wickstorm. Wickstorm looking for options. Defended by Thomas. Back now to Borgmere, and Borgmere will boot it away. Sophia Delpoise gets a touch. Out of bounds, throwing for the Trojans. Thomas trying to bring it down. Wickstorm wins it back. And now Wickstorm plays it to Sullivan up the sideline. Sullivan with time and space. Trying to play it to Delpoise. A great defensive read there by Macy Miller, who comes across and boots it away. Macy Miller has been all over the defensive side for the Trojans today. Now in possession, it's Emily Christensen. Christensen turns, has time, cuts back inside, gets it on the right, plays it to Delpoise. Delpoise has Sullivan running. Sullivan now up the sideline, and Sullivan can't cross it in. Good build-up by the Judge Memorial Bulldogs as Sophia Delpoise did a good job to get it to the overlapping run, but Juliet Sullivan couldn't cross it in. Emma Toon boots this one away for the Trojans. Only lands at Chloe Gardner. Gardner playing it back to Christensen. Christensen against Miller. Miller goes to ground. And a foul called as Christensen takes down Macy Miller. Ball booted away by the Morgan Trojans. Comes in to Paul. Paul, Miller comes up, boots it up. One back by the Bulldogs. Here comes Delpoise. Here's Charlton. Playing it back to Summers. Summers over the top. In the direction of Paul. Paul can't bring it in. Nicely defended by the Bulldogs. Here comes Wickstorm now coming the other way. As Wickstorm plays one in, looking for Christensen. And Maddie Fisher, the freshman goalkeeper, doing a good job reading it off her line and boots this one away. Lands now in the middle of the park for Evans. Thomas. One back by the Bulldogs. Here comes Delpoise up the near sideline. Delpoise crosses it in, and nobody there but Macy Miller. And Miller will boot this one away. Up now, giving chase is Charlton. Defended by Borgmere, and ball goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up for the Bulldogs. Substitutions for both sides.
Morgan substitutions, number 13, Macy Burton, and number 18, Samantha Moses.
Macy Burton back into the game.
Number 25,
Samantha Moses also back into the game for the Trojans. Delpoise with a nice touch, gets it over Sage Jones. Delpoise still in possession. Jones comes across, makes a big tackle defensively, and a throw-in coming up for the Bulldogs. Delpoise brings it in over the top. And nobody there but Macy Miller, who boots this one away. Wickstorm trying to win it back in the middle of the park. Takes a couple of bounces, now lands at Burton. Burton playing it to Charlton. Charlton has options. Tries to get it through. Defended again by the Bulldogs. Now it goes out to Lacey Paul. Paul into the box. Paul taking a shot. And Paul can't put it on frame. It goes over the bar and out for the goal kick. But a good opportunity. Nice build-up by the Morgan Trojans. Getting that ball out to Lacey Paul. Top goal scorer for the Trojans. And Paul, unfortunately, just can't put it on frame. A foul called. And a free kick coming up here for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Again, leading it 1-0 with 6:50 left to go here in the first half. Thanks to a goal by Callie Lipson. Sullivan losing out possession, booted away by the Trojans. Brought down by Borgmere, and ball with Sienna Love. Out of bounds and out over on that far sideline. And another throw-in coming up, this time for the Bulldogs. Comes out now to the Trojans. One back by Love. Trying to get it out to Gardner. Nicely defended by Burton as the Trojans back in possession. Sienna Love quickly winning it back. Now here comes Love up that far sideline. Poked away by Bailey Anderson. Will take the final deflection off of a Bulldog, and we'll have a Trojan throw over on that far sideline. Substitution coming up as Kendall Peterson checking back into the game for the Morgan Trojans. Off comes Reese Crowther.
Morgan substitution number 12, Kendall Peterson.
Ball back in play. It's Macy Miller who boots this one away. Looking for Peterson. Peterson flicks it through, and nobody there as Borgmere comes across and clears this one away. Sullivan now for the Bulldogs. Plays it up, looking for Wickstorm. Wickstorm with a nice turn. Sage Jones with a nice recovery to win it back. Here comes Burton. Burton with a heavy touch. Love comes across defensively. Now here's Wickstorm for Judge. Wickstorm trying to play it into Lipson. And cut out by Jones. Jones will play it to Thomas. Thomas will go back to Miller. Miller boosts this one over the top, going towards that sideline for Pole. And out of bounds and out, a Judge throw-in coming up. It'll be McKenna Gardner over on that far sideline to throw it in. Gets it to Chloe Gardner, takes a deflection off of Gardner, and it goes out of bounds for a Trojan throw. Now over on that far sideline. 4:30 left to go here in the first. McKenna Gardner boots this one away. Trying to get in the middle for Lipson. Brought down by Thomas. And now back in possession is the Bulldogs. Here with Jacobs, with Christensen. Christensen losing out possession. Sullivan steps up. Kendall Peterson trying to keep that one in for the Trojans. It goes out of bounds and out. Throw in for Judge on the near sideline. Substitution as Wickstorm heads out to the bench for a breather. Hankins back into the game. Sullivan to throw it in. Brought down by Lipson. Lipson trying to turn. Lipson now gets it on her left. Nicely cut out by Thomas. Only to find Gardner. Gardner playing it back to McKenna Gardner. Gardner floats one into the top of the 18. Takes a bounce. Lands at Christensen. Christensen now trying to get into the box. And Macy Miller comes up with a nice defensive step to clear this one away for the Trojans. Now here come the Trojans on a counterattack. Cut out by Sullivan. And ball booted away. Thomas. Amy Thomas still in possession for the Trojans. Plays it to Burton. Burton looking for options. Has to support herself with Toon. Toon trying to get it up. Rolls through to Peterson, and Kendall Peterson can't keep that one in. Out of bounds and out for a throw in here on the near side. Out of bounds once more, this time for a Trojans throw in. Substitution for Morgan as well. It'll be Sage Jones heading to the bench for a breather. Back into the game is Lily Evans. Burton trying to turn, lands at Charlton.
Number 10, Lily Evans.
Ball back to Amy Thomas. Thomas trying to play one in, but Link is there. Link boots it away for the Bulldogs. Now lands at Lipson, the goal scorer. Lipson Gets it back out wide to Gardner. Gardner playing it in, looking for Christensen. Nice step again. Macy Miller has been fantastic defensively today for the Morgan Trojans. Sullivan cuts it out for the Bulldogs. Lipson cuts back. Lipson pokes it through to Hankins. Hankins now filters one through to Del Poise. Fisher off her line. Doesn't hit it cleanly, but cleared away by the Trojans. Evans cut out by Sullivan. Sullivan now carries up the near sideline. Trying to get around Moses, and Samantha Moses doing a good job defensively to win it back. Now up for Burton. Cut out by Hankins. Brought down. Nothing there as we play on. Thomas will play it over the top. Sullivan with the header. Brought down by Evans. Trojans back in possession. Samantha Moses boots it over the top. Looking for Charlton. Charlton with a heavy touch. Brings it in and goes to ground. A foul called. And we'll have a stoppage in play here as Chloe Gardner gets caught on the foul. A yellow card caution will be issued to number 3, Chloe Gardner, who will have to sub off.
Your attention, please.
Chloe Gardner out.
A yellow card has been assessed against
Heidi Del Poise
Chloe Gardner of Judge Memorial.
into the game.
Into the lineup, number 8, Heidi Del Poise.
Free kick coming up here for the Morgan Trojans with 50 seconds left here in the first half. Samantha Moses trying to get it back into the mix. Taking a shot from distance. And here comes the rebound. Put in. Charlton. And the Trojans level with 38 seconds left to play in the first half. Capri Charlton off the rebound. Hangstorm came up with a nice save, but Charlton there puts it in.
Morgan.
Charlton with her 19th goal of the season. And Morgan ties it up 1-1 right before the halftime break. Ball back in play.
Morgan goal by number 25, Capri Charlton.
Ball up the sideline, cut back by Christensen. Christensen now taking it up the end line, into the box. The cross comes in. Lipson with the shot. Doesn't hit it cleanly and can't put it on frame. But Callie Lipson, so close to getting her team back in front. The countdown here at Zions Bank. Toon will boot this one away.
2, 1, 0.
And that'll do it.
Halftime score, Morgan 1, Judge Memorial Catholic 1.
Puts the end here on what has been a fun first half. Both sides finding the back of the net in that first half. First it was Judge taking a lead off a goal from Callie Lipson. And then off the free kick, Hangstorm is forced into a save. But who else is there but Capri Charlton at the back post to poke it in and tie things up for the Trojans. 1-1 as we head to the break here between the number 1 Judge Memorial Bulldogs and the number 4, the Morgan Trojans. We'll take a step aside, but don't go anywhere. Second half action of the 3A semifinals when we return here on the KSL, on the Rewind Sports Network. Welcome back into the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. Alex Napolis here with you at Zions Bank Stadium. Game 1 of the 3A semifinals. And this one between the number 1 Judge Memorial Bulldogs and the number 4 Morgan Trojans. We start the second half where we started the first half. And that's where we're all tied up. It's 1-1 as we are seconds away from getting second half action started. 1-1 thanks to goals from Callie Lipson of the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. And late in the first half, number 25, Capri Charlton able to tie it up off a free kick. Putting into the back of the net. Final preparations here as we get ready for the whistle to start the second half. It is the number 4 Morgan Trojans in the white, shooting to the right of your screen here in the second half. And it is the Judge Memorial Bulldogs in the red, shooting to the left in the second half. We are underway as the Morgan Trojans in possession. The goal scorer, Charlton, here with the ball. Charlton looks to boot one up in the direction of Peterson, cut out by McKenna Gardner, and Gardner boots this one away. Hankins gets a touch. Macy Miller there. Now lands for the Bulldogs as Wilkstorm in possession. Wilkstorm pokes one through to Christensen. Christensen now into the box. Christensen trying to get around Toon. Toon with a nice defensive effort. Takes a deflection off of Emma Toon. Coming across, cutting off the angle for Christensen. Out of bounds and out, a corner kick. Coming up here for the for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Out of bounds, off the corner, set piece opportunity coming up here for Judge. Everybody running in at the back post. The cross comes in near post. Christensen was there. Macy Miller with a header to clear this one away. Now Hankins comes in. Back out wide to Christensen. And can't connect with Emily Christensen, as that one goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. Emma Toon to boot this one away for the Trojans. Lily Evans lets it bounce, leaves it for Paul, and that one goes out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. It'll be Juliet Sullivan over on that far sideline to throw it in. Ball lands at Lipson. Cut out by Paul. Back to Sullivan for Judge. Paul with a nice defensive effort to win it. And now here come the Trojans. Trying to filter one through, but nobody there but Borgmere to boot this one away for the Bulldogs. Now lands at Wickstorm in the middle of the park. Wickstorm with a nice through ball here to Chloe Gardner. Gardner into the box. Gardner with the left-footed shot, and Gardner can't put it on frame. Chloe Gardner, the freshman, had the chance running in behind the Trojan defense. Left-footed shot going to the near post, can't put it on frame. Out of bounds and out, quickly played out by the Trojans. Peterson trying to poke one back in towards the middle. Cut out by the Bulldogs, and now Maddie Fisher off her line to collect. Fisher here has an opportunity to clear the lines for the Trojans. Amy Thomas there with the boot, getting it out wide to Lacey Paul. Paul trying to cut it back inside. Ball booted away by the Trojans. Lily Evans turns. And Evans losing out possession. Now it's Macy Miller. Miller boots this one out, as it's going to be a Bulldog throwing over on that far sideline. Sullivan plays it in, finds Wickstorm. Wickstorm now up the sideline, leaves it for Lipson. Lipson cuts inside, plays it to Christensen. Christensen now taking it into the box. Christensen around Macy Miller. Toon comes across, cuts it out again defensively. And they'll say that the final deflection came off of Emily Christensen. And a goal kick coming up here for the Trojans. Christensen will boot this, that is Miller booting this one away. Lands at Wickstorm for the Bulldogs. Wickstorm now with time and space, looking for options. Pokes one through to Christensen. Christensen cuts back, gets it on her left, gets around her defender. Now a shot from Christensen, and Maddie Fisher forced into a save. Fisher forced to get down here at the near post. forced into the save off the shot from Christensen, and a corner kick here for the Bulldogs. It'll be Christensen to cross this one in, goes back post across the face of goal. Nobody at the back post to crash and get on the end of it. Instead goes through and out for the goal kick. And the Trojans here with another opportunity to boot this one away. Emma Toon gets it out. Wickstorm back in possession for Judge. Judge here keeping the pressure on this Trojan defense. Right now the Trojans struggling to clear their lines. As that ball goes out of bounds, another throw-in coming up for the Bulldogs. And an opportunity for Judge Memorial to keep this one in the attacking third. Lipson goes up the sideline, gets around Summers. The cross comes in. Macy Miller's there. And now here comes Paul trying to get it out for Morgan and does. Sienna Love with the header. Burton for the Trojans. Gets it to Charlton. Charlton can't get around Sullivan. Sullivan comes up huge defensively for Judge. Hankins playing it to Wickstorm. Wickstorm now up the near sideline to Chloe Gardner. Gardner back to Wickstorm. Wickstorm cuts out, taking it towards the near sideline. Now into the box is Lily Wickstorm. Taking the shots, and Fisher coming up big for the Trojans as Maddie Fisher denies Wickstorm. Brought down by Charlton. And now here comes Lacey Pohl trying to get through that Bulldog defense. Brought down by Gardner. McKenna Gardner now carries for Judge. Ball comes out to the near sideline for Gardner. Defended by Samantha Moses, and the offside flag raised. Offsides called against the Bulldogs. Quickly played out by the Trojans. Here comes Lacey Paul in possession. Paul looking for options. Shielding off Borgmere. Has to play it all the way back to Burton. Burton will now float one. Looking to play it to Evans. Evans with a nice touch. Looking for Charlton. And that one will just go all the way back to Maddie Fisher. Here with 32-35 left to go in the second half. All tied up at 1-1 in game one of the 3A semifinals. Take this opportunity to remind you that after the conclusion of this one, we'll have more action here on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. Game two of the 3A semifinals coming up next. It's the Manti Templars taking on the Oregon Tigers in the 3A semifinals. Ball goes out of bounds and out over on that far sideline. Judge to throw it in. It'll be Sullivan for the Bulldogs, playing it into Lipson, the goal scorer, bringing it down. Now goes back towards the sideline, out of bounds and out off the heavy touch. And it's going to be a Morgan Trojan throw-in, as well as a Trojan substitution as Bailey Anderson back into the game. Samantha Moses out for a breather.
Replacing number 18, Samantha Moses.
Bulldogs back in possession. Ball booted over the top. Wickstorm trying to bring it in. Nicely defended by Thomas. Quickly won back by the Bulldogs. Now here's Wickstorm. Thomas trying to win it back. Comes across. Lily Evans in possession for the Trojans. Given away as Garner pokes one through into Wickstorm. Wickstorm cuts it to her right. Taking the shot. Trying to find the bottom corner at the near post, but just skims past the post. Wickstorm just wide as the Bulldogs trying to retake the lead. Now back with Christensen. Christensen goes down. Toon comes up defensively. Christensen trying to win it back. And that ball goes out of bounds and out. The Bulldogs will retain possession in the attacking third. Keeping the pressure on this Trojans defense as they try to the Bulldogs try to retake the lead. Witchstorm back in possession. Goes to ground, nothing called. Lipson now on the ball, trying to get around Summers. And Mia Somers doing a good job to poke that one away. It'll go out of bounds and out. Bulldog throwing over on that far sideline. Ball comes in for Christensen. Christensen trying to get around her defender. Nicely cut out by the Trojans. Here comes Lily Evans. Evans playing it up to Charlton. Charlton trying to get out towards that far sideline. Cut out by the Bulldogs. Quickly won back by the Trojans with Charlton, the goal scorer. And both goal scorers going head-to-head over on that far sideline as Lipson wins it back for the Bulldogs. Hankins now gets around Evans. Hankins gets it to Wickstorm. Wickstorm out wide to Sullivan. Sullivan crosses it in, takes a header into the box. Fisher off her line, and Fisher collects. You gotta love the pressure here from the Bulldogs early in this second half. They have come out firing out of the gate. All the pressure right now on this Trojans defense. Bending, not breaking at the moment for the Trojans. Trying to find an opportunity here on the counterattack as Lacey Paul now gets around her defender. Paul crossing it in. Brought down, Charlton is there. And Addie Borgmere comes up with a huge defensive stop. Ball coming the other way for the Bulldogs. Hankins playing it to Wickstorm. Wickstorm plays it up the near sideline for Chloe Gardner. Gardner now giving chase. Coming across is Bailey Anderson defending Gardner. Gardner trying to win it back. Still the pressure remains on this Trojan defense. The Bulldogs can't seem to stay out of their own attacking third. Substitutions coming up for both sides. Looks like Sage Jones back in for the Trojans. And Sophia Del Puis back into the game for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Throw in here for Del Puis.
Morgan substitution number 55, Sage Jones.
Brought in by Christensen. Christensen here near the top of the 18. We'll play it in to Lipson, the goal scorer. Lipson cuts it back out to her right. Nicely shielded by Lipson to keep possession for the Bulldogs. Sienna Love now for Judge. Plays it back to Lipson. Lipson trying to get around Burton. Taking a shot from distance, and he goes wide of the post. (27-19) left to go here in the second half. We are all tied up at 1-1. Bulldogs having the better of the opportunities here in the second half. Still the pressure remains for Judge. Del Puis with the shot from distance and can't put it on frame. Out of bounds once more. Another goal kick coming up for the Trojans, who defensively right now standing strong on this nonstop pressure and attack from the Bulldogs. See if they can hit on a quick counter now with Paul. Paul playing it, looking for Peterson. And now Del Puis plays it back to McKenna Gardner. Again, the Bulldogs back in possession, cut out by Bailey Anderson. Anderson looking to float one over to the top. Cut out by Sienna Love, brought down by Hankins. Poked through by the Trojans, out of bounds and out once more. Throwing coming up here for Judge on the near sideline. Del Puis came down, cut out by the Trojans. Now here's Burton, trying to get around Sienna Love. Burton cuts it back, gets it on her left, plays it out to Miller. Macy Miller out wide and nicely cut out by the Bulldogs. Miller comes across. Lipson doing a good job to keep possession. Lipson against Summers. Summers pokes it through, finds Lily Evans. Evans now trying to play it up the sideline. Charlton giving chase. Comes out to Lacey Paul. Paul cuts inside, trying to keep that one from going out. Does. Charlton gets a touch. And that one goes out of bounds and out for the goal kick. 25-10. Yet to play here in the second half. We are all tied up at 1-1. These two teams have already played each other once this season. Judge Memorial came out on top. Right now, deadlocked at 1-1 in this 3A semifinal. Game 1 action as Paul in possession, taking a shot from distance. That'll just go safely into the hands of Lorraine Hingstorm. Ball booted away by Hingstorm. Takes a bounce over Peterson, and now giving chase here is Gardner. Gardner has to get it away, out of bounds and out. Throwing coming up for the Trojans. Bailey Anderson throws it in. Charlton trying to get possession here for the Trojans in the attacking third, and instead it'll just go safely into the hands of Hingstorm. Takes a bounce over Sage Jones. Now it's Del Poise, leaves it for Wickstorm. Wickstorm has options. Plays it into Christensen. Christensen back in. Looking in the direction of Lipson. Wingstorm is there. Ball booted away now by the Trojans. Still in the attacking third is the Bulldogs over the top. Sophia Del Poise against Bailey Anderson. Del Poise goes back to the sideline. Trying to cross one in. Does. Looking for Lipson. Emma Toon is there, and Toon boots this one away. Wickstorm back with the Bulldogs. Again, the pressure here for Judge. And a heavy touch by Del Poise. Out of bounds and out. Peterson to Burton. Burton for Lacey Paul. Paul will settle it for Evans. Evans now giving chase up that side, up that far side. Ball played in. Burton trying to get possession back for the Trojans, and Burton comes in with a crunching tackle. And that will warrant a yellow card. Yellow card caution issued to Macy Burton, the senior.
Attention, please. A yellow card has been assessed against number 13, Macy Burton of Morgan.
And a free kick coming up now for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs, as they look to get the ball back into their own attacking third.
In the lineup for Morgan is number 5, Amy Thomas.
Amy Thomas back into the game for the Trojans after Burton goes into the book. Ball booted away by the Bulldogs. Into the hands of Fisher, and Maddie Fisher can clear this one out. Thomas. Brought in by Sage Jones. Evans. Evans has options. Cut out by Sienna Love. Freshman midfielder Sienna Love comes across, cuts that one out, goes out of bounds, and a throw-in coming up for the Trojans over on that far sideline. Summers to throw it in, plays it back to Macy Miller. Miller looking to float one in. Skips through the box, and he goes out of bounds and out. A corner kick coming up here for the Trojans. Morgan, who have been defending for a majority of this second half, now have an opportunity here off the corner. Lacey Paul to whip this one in. .21:30 left to go in the second. Paul crosses it in, goes near post, and headed away by Hankins. Giving chase now is Peterson, who will shield that one. Lets it go out. A throw-in coming up here for the Trojans. Substitutions prior to, as Macy Burton checking back into the game. Lily Evans will head out for a breather.
13, Macy Burton. Replacing number 10, Lily Evans.
Throw in here for Bailey Anderson on the near sideline. Gets it up, looking for Lacey Paul. Or excuse me, that's Charlton. Charlton with the header, bringing it in. Brought down by Thomas. Thomas goes to ground. Thomas called for the foul call for Judge as Thomas goes to ground. And a dangerous, dangerous free kick coming up here for the Morgan Trojans. Just outside the box. Halfway through the second half, and Morgan here have an opportunity to take their first lead. Off the free kick. Macy Burton standing over it to take. 3 on the wall for the Bulldogs. Covering the near post. Macy Burton goes for goal. Saved by Hank Storm and cleared away by Judge. Hingstorm at the near post forced into a save as Burton goes for goal. And the Trojans trying to stay in the attacking third. Now it's Charlton, the goal scorer, pokes it through to Paul and booted away by the Bulldogs. The best opportunity Morgan have had here in the second half. And it forces Lorraine Hingstorm into a save. This one stays tied up at 1-1. Collision over on that far sideline. Sullivan goes to ground. And the Trojans back in possession. Now it's Burton. Burton trying to get around Love. Sienna Love, the freshman, coming up big. Burton. Back now to Burton. Burton crosses it in, lands at Charlton. Charlton trying to get it back out wide to Paul. Paul bringing it down against Sullivan. Gets past Sullivan, has a chance to cross it in. Does. Looking for Thomas. Cleared away by the Bulldogs. Out wide now to Summers. And one back by the Bulldogs. Quickly, one back by the Trojans. Burton. Burton taking a shot from distance and can't put it on frame. Macy Burton's shot from distance goes wide of the post. It'll go out of bounds and out. Goal kick coming up here for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Substitutions for the Bulldog as well, as Lily Wickstrom comes out for a breather. Chloe Gardner back into the game. Amy Thomas for Morgan. Thomas gets it to Burton. Burton now here with an opportunity, taking another shot from distance, and again can't put it on frame. Burton had time and space, had a chance to control and maybe get off a better shot, but instead it goes wide of the post and out. Judge here with an opportunity to clear their lines, and momentum here in the second half has definitely shifted for a large majority of this second half. The shot from distance safely into the hands of Hingstorm. For a large majority of this second half, it was Judge who had all the pressure on that Trojans defense, just pushing and pushing. Couldn't get a goal. And now all of a sudden momentum with the Morgan Trojans as they have the pressure on that Judge back line. Jones. Out wide by Chloe Gardner, and a handball. Takes a bounce. Gardner called for the handball. A free kick coming up here for the Trojans with 16:55 left to go in the second. All tied up at 1-1. Burton will take the free kick for Morgan. Everybody lined up for the Trojans at the top of the 18. Burton here looking to whip one in, try to create some chaos inside the box. Burton will whip it in at the top of the 18, takes a deflection, and it'll go safely back into the hands of Hingstorm. And Lorraine Hingstorm here will boot this one away. Comes out to McKenna Gardner. Gardner gets around Peterson. Ball booted up. Nobody there but Macy Miller to boot this one away. Off the knee of Thomas trying to play one through, one back by the Bulldogs. Emma Toon comes across and boots this one away. Throw in coming up for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs over on that far sideline as Lily Weekstorm.
Morgan substitution, number 26, Reese Crowther.
Back into the game.
Lineup, number 15, Lily Wickstrom.
Off here is Emily Christensen for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Good second half showing from Christensen. Gardner will cross this one in, takes a bounce, and Maddie Fisher will collect. Ball booted away by Fisher. Morgan Trojans back in possession, trying to poke it through. No one there but Link to boot this one away for the Bulldogs. One back by Charleston, brought in by Thomas. Thomas looking for options. Plays it to Burton. Burton will leave it to Sage Jones. Jones back to Burton. Burton playing it to Sage Jones. Jones cuts back, gets around Sullivan. Jones playing it up the sideline. Charlton giving chase as that ball will go out of bounds and out. That was not Charlton. That was number 26 for the Trojans, Reese Crowther. Giving chase, out of bounds and out. The goal kick coming up here for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. 14 minutes left to go here in the second half. Still tied up at 1-1 in game one of the 3A semifinals. Burton in possession. Will play it to Charlton. Ball one back by the Bulldogs. It's a ball filtered through. Wickstrom running off of it. Fisher comes out, boots it away, and lands. Heavy touch by Thomas. Toon will now play it up. Sage Jones in possession for the Trojans. Peterson trying to cut inside. Mia Summers playing it to Thomas. Hankins trying to win it back for the Bulldogs. Ball goes out. It's Crowther. Crowther losing out possession. Back with Judge. Hankins. Nice through ball to Wickstorm. Emma Toon covering Wickstorm, trying to win it, and Wickstorm called for the foul. Wickstorm with a little push in the back there on Emma Toon. Draws the whistle from the ref. And a free kick coming up here for the Trojans as they boot this one away. Ball comes back out. Now it's Peterson playing it to Burton. Burton trying to get around Link. Link doing a good job defensively. Forces Burton out wide. Burton still in possession. Burton playing it in the middle now for Thomas. Thomas, and nicely defended by Sienna Love. The freshman has been fantastic for the Bulldogs this morning. Ball goes out of bounds and out once more. Another throw in, this time for the Bulldogs over on that far sideline prior to a substitution as Emily Christensen checking back into the game. Sophia Del Puis heading out to the bench. Ball back in play by the Bulldogs. Emma Toon coming across, makes the defensive effort as that ball goes out of bounds and out. Throwing now for the Trojans over on that far sideline. Substitution coming up for the Morgan Trojans as well.
For the Trojans, number 16, Lacey Paul.
Lacey Paul back into the game. Here comes Sage Jones. Plays it to Thomas. Thomas with time and space. Carries in possession for the Trojans. Playing it now in the middle for Burton. Charlton takes a touch, brings it in, and Bergmere comes up with the defensive challenge, deemed a foul, and a free kick coming up here for the Morgan Trojans. as Borgmere called for the foul. One on the wall for the Bulldogs. Here comes support as Christensen and Lipson trying to join the wall. Wickstorm will join. Burton standing over the ball to take. See if Burton decides to go for goal here. Burton will go over and out for the goal kick. Off the free kick. Burton decided to go for goal, but just put a little bit too much under it as it goes over and out. And ball booted away by the Judge Memorial goal kick. Trojans quickly back into possession. Burton plays it and ball given away. Takes a deflection off of Burton. Judge back in possession. Peterson trying to close this one down. Peterson comes across and wins it back for the Trojans. Rankins with a nice touch. Supports herself with Link. Link boots this one over the top. Giving chase now is Toon and Lipson. And that one will just go out of bounds and out. A throw-in coming up here for the Morgan Trojans. Under 10 now with 9:33 left to go here in the second half. Still tied up at 1-1 apiece. Do we have a decisive goal? And Peterson down after the play. That's number 12, Kendall Peterson. Training staff here for the Morgan Trojans heading on to the pitch to have a look at Peterson, who went down after the challenge. And while the officials and staff here take a look at Kendall Peterson, we'll take a step aside. Stoppage and play, 9:22 left to go. All tied up at 1-1 here at Zions Bank Stadium. Good to see number 12, Kendall Peterson, back on her feet, walking over to that far sideline.
Trojan number 12, Kendall Peterson.
As Peterson will make her way over to the far sideline, back to the Morgan Trojans bench. Hope that, of course, it's nothing too serious here for Peterson, and that she can continue. She's been a good part of this Morgan Trojans attack here in the second half. And ball will get back in play. Fisher off her line. And Fisher will let that one go out of bounds and out. A goal kick coming up here for the Morgan Trojans. We have 9 minutes left to go here in the second half. Still tied up at 1-1 between the Judge Memorial Bulldogs and the Morgan Trojans, thanks to goals from Lipson for the Bulldogs and Charlton of the Trojans. See if we have a decisive goal in this one with 8:45 remaining. If not, OT, overtime, looming large. Wickstorm booted away by Macy Miller. Ball booted away by the Trojans, lands at Paul. Paul trying to get around her defender and does. Paul gets around one, gets around two. Paul goes to ground as Love comes across, and Sienna Love called for the foul and a free kick coming up. Take this time to remind you that this is game one of the 3A semifinals. Coming up next, game two, it'll be the Manti Templars taking on the Ogden Tigers for a spot in the 3A championship game. Macy Burton will boot this one in, whipped into the top of the 18, cleared away by the Bulldogs, and a foul called. Another foul for the Trojans. This one in a much more dangerous position. Burton just right outside the 18. With 7:25 left here in the second half. The Morgan Trojans with the free kick in a very dangerous spot. Macy Burton And Lacey Paul standing over it to take. Paul standing over it with the left, Burton with the right. Paul will step up, leaves it for Burton. Burton with the shot, and Burton with the goal! Macy Burton off the free kick.
Morgan, number 13.
Puts it into the top corner, and Burton
Morgan 2.
puts the Trojans into the lead. 7:03 left to go in the second half. And number 4 leads it. Macy Burton with a golazo off the free kick puts the Trojans ahead. And somewhere in there, a yellow card caution was issued to somebody. I'm not sure who, but that card, it looked like a card came out momentarily. Christensen will now try to play one in. Fisher off for line, and Fisher collects. Fisher boots this one away. Paul pokes one through. Sage Jones deflected. Now it's Judge in their defensive half. Judge have to get something here, and they have to get it quick. Not much time left here at Zions Bank Stadium with the Trojans leading it 2-1. Ball comes out to Christensen. Christensen playing it back to Gardner. Gardner into the box. Gardner around Toon. Gardner crosses it in. Poked away by who else? Macy Miller coming up huge for the Trojans. Corner kick coming up for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. Time running out here at Zions Bank. It'll be Lipson to take the corner. The cross goes in, back post, headed away by the Trojans. Wickstorm trying to come back and keep possession. Lands at Lipson. Lipson crosses it in, goes near post. Fisher spills, and Fisher collects. Could have been dangerous as the freshman goalkeeper, Maddie Fisher, spilled the ball. And recovers well. Ball booted away. Paul bringing it down. One back by Sullivan. Now it's Thomas. Thomas up the sideline to Charlton. Charlton with the heavy touch. Can't bring it in. Goes out of bounds and out over on the far sideline. Sullivan to throw it in for Judge. One back by Thomas. Thomas just gets it up the sideline. Nobody there. Out of bounds. And time ticking away for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. The number 1 in the RPI in danger here. Do they have a late goal in them? Ball goes out of bounds and out. Ball played in, Lipson. Macy Miller comes across, goes to ground. Ball booted away by Burton. And Burton sends that up to the far stands. And now here come the Bulldogs. Gardner goes to ground. A foul called. A free kick coming up here for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs. As Chloe Gardner goes to ground. A free kick coming up. And an opportunity here to tie it up. Dangerous, dangerous free kick coming up here for the number 1 in the RPI. .340 left to go. The Trojans lead it 2-1. 3 on the wall for Morgan. 2 players crowding Fisher. And now the official heading into the box to have a conversation, making sure that everybody in the box is keeping off of Fisher. The shot off the crossbar and back out. Hits the top post and out of bounds. Judge back in play with Wickstrom. Sienna Love back up the sideline. to Garner. Garner to Christensen. Cross comes in. Christensen goes to ground, and a corner kick coming up here. .240 left. A corner kick coming up for Judge. The cross whipped in. Back post, headed away by Toon. And cleared away by Lacey Paul. Only to find a Bulldog. Charlton steps in. Judge back in possession. Love plays it to Lipson. And Lipson called for the handball. The Trojans here will have a stoppage in play. As a yellow card coming out to Emma Toon. Emma Toon goes into the book for time wasting. And Emma Toon will have to come off. Substitution for the Morgan Trojans as Samantha Moses back into the game.
Morgan substitution, number 18, Samantha Moses. Replacing number 21, Emma Toon.
Macy Burton to boot this one away with 2:03 left on the clock. And another stoppage here as ball was played in. Or booted away by Macy Burton, but the official wasn't set. And now Burton will have to boot this one away again. Ball booted away by Burton. Lands back for the Bulldogs. Moses gets a foot on it, boots it away. Christensen trying to get on the end of it. One back by the Trojans. Here comes a ball played up by Samantha Moses. And Jones, Sage Jones called for the foul, a free kick for the Bulldogs, and they got to go quick. Not much time left remaining for Judge to try to find the equalizer. Ball comes out, Bailey Anderson covering, Christensen trying to get on the end of it. Christensen with the heavy touch, ball goes out of bounds, and now a throw-in coming up for the Morgan Trojans. Will have another stoppage in play as we'll allow the substitutions to come on for Morgan. Emma Toon checking back in, as well as Kendall Peterson. Good to see Kendall back into the game after picking up a knock earlier. Good to see her run back onto the field here in the final moments of this 3A semifinal. Ball back in play. Here comes Wickstrom. Wickstrom taking a shot from distance. And it goes wide of the post, out of bounds, and out. A goal kick coming up here for the Trojans. Burton to boot this one away. With 35 seconds left, Burton boots it out. Lands at Thomas. Brought down by Paul, booted away. Macy Miller's there. Miller will kick this one out. Now it's Paul. Paul trying to get it back out wide. Ball booted out by Bergmeyer. Toon is there, gets a header on it. Giving chase here is Lipson. Miller is there, boots it out. The countdown here at Zions Bank. Quickly played in by the Bulldogs. Lipson brings it down, trying to turn. The cross comes in, and that'll do it. Down goes number one. Morgan Trojans, trailing in the first half, score late in the first to tie it up. And then a late goal in the second half has the Morgan Trojans heading back to the 3A state championship game on Saturday.
At 11 a.m. here at Science Bank Stadium.
The number 4 Morgan Trojans win it 2-1. Thanks to goals from Capri Charlton in the first half and Macy Burton in the second. The Trojans, despite the slow start to the year, extend the game-winning streak to 12 and now have a chance to head back to the state championship game after losing it last year, and will have an opportunity to fight for state championship number 4. Heartbreak for the Judge Memorial Bulldogs as they will fall to 16-1 on the year. Their first loss of the season for the number 1 in the RPI, and they are heading home after a phenomenal performance here in the 3A semifinals, just falling short of that championship game. Celebrations over on the far sideline again as the Morgan Trojans prevail 2-1. And that's going to do it for us here on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com. I'm Alex Napolis. A huge shout out to Tino on the camera. And from the entire Rewind Sports family, we thank you for watching. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 of the 3A semifinals coming up next. The Manti Templars taking on the Ogden Tigers.